This is Brandon with Fleet Feet, and today we've got a stability shoe for all of you, and that is the Brooks Adrenaline 24 GTS. This is a daily trainer and stability shoe from Brooks, and I'm pretty excited about it because I don't actually get the opportunity to test or review a lot of stability shoes. I don't usually need stability, but it's really nice to have, especially when I just want a little bit of extra support. So what does GTS actually mean? It means go-to support from Brooks, and it actually explains the technology that Brooks uses for stability. While many brands are moving away from a medial posting to solve for stability, Brooks and the Adrenaline has decided to stick to its roots. But before we start talking about support and stability and midsoles, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps with continuing to support us as we put out new videos. Now let's move on and start with the upper. The upper is a mesh upper. It is very warm. It is very thick. It's got a lot of padding around the heel collar and tongue. The tongue is not gusseted, but I didn't have any issues with any heel lock or midfoot lock. And one of our reviewers, Caroline, actually had a lot to say about this upper. And for her, one of her first reactions when she was putting this shoe on is that she actually felt like it was just a little too short for her. She found that her toes were almost touching all the way to the top of the shoe. And she found that this wasn't just the case with this Brooks shoe, but she found that it was the case with other Brooks shoes that she's tested as well. So she found that maybe this is just across the board from Brooks, it's just a change in the last. And so for her, she just found that it was a little snug. But she did find that everything else did fit well for her. There was enough room and it was wide in the toe box, and the midfoot lock was very comfortable. From my experience, I didn't have any issues with the Adrenaline or the fit of it. It definitely had a nice midfoot lock. There was some room in the toe box, but I wasn't having those issues where my toe was ramming up all the way to the edge. Caroline and I both have different foot shapes and different foot lengths, and we have different sized feet. And the only way that you can really figure out whether this shoe is gonna fit best for you is if you go into your local Fleet Feet store and try this shoe on for yourself. But for now, let's just move on to the midsole. And the midsole is made up of DNA Loft V3, which is the same midsole that you can find in the Brooks Ghost. So for those who enjoyed the Brooks Ghost and like the ride of it, the midsole is going to be the same. So if you're looking for that similar cushioning but just need a little bit of extra support, the Adrenaline might be a good pick for you. And like we said earlier, the medial posting is here to stay. The Adrenaline, as well as the Glycerin GTS 21, continue to keep their GuideRail system from Brooks. And basically what that is, it's a firm posting that sits on the medial side of the foot. And you can actually tell that sometimes there's actually some lateral reinforcement as well. Caroline found that the cushioning of the shoe felt somewhat firm, but it does have a nice amount of flexibility, which is something she enjoyed. The drop of the shoe is pretty aggressive, and it's at 12 millimeters, with a midsole stack of 25 in the heel and 13 in the toe. So the shoe has a relatively low stack against all other daily trainers out there on the market right now, but it does have a very high drop. The outsole of this shoe is made up of thick rubber outsole, which is usual from Brooks. Brooks usually likes to make very thick outsole rubbers, and this one is no different. We had no issues with rubber or traction. Now let's move on to the ride and performance. And for me, this shoe felt very similar to that of the Brooks Ghost because of the same midsole foam that's used. The only difference is that you're gonna get this go-to support system on the medial side, and you're gonna get a little bit of extra support as well on the lateral side. So if you're someone who needs a little bit of extra support, then this shoe is gonna work really well for you. While this shoe for me wasn't the most exciting, it is a very agreeable shoe and it is easy to run in. And usually that's all you really need in a running shoe. You don't always need all of the bells and whistles and all of this crazy innovation. Sometimes when a shoe is working well, don't mess with it. And while the ride of this shoe was very smooth, it did have a lower stack than I'm typically used to or prefer. So that's something that I wish, hopefully in the future, the Adrenaline starts to adjust. And for one of our viewers, Mandy, she actually found that this shoe really worked well for her when she was doing strength exercises. Whether it was squats or lunges or any other stability movement, she found that the GuideRail system really just helped keep her foot stable. And for her, it wasn't like the support was super pronounced, it was only really there when she needed it. The weight of this shoe comes in at 10 ounces or 283 grams for the men's model, or 8 ounces or 226 grams for the women's model. And the price of this shoe comes in at $140, and other shoes within its line that challenges it is the Saucony Guide at $140 and the On Cloud Runner at $150, both of which are stability daily trainers. And if you want to check this shoe out for yourself, you can go online and learn all about it on fleetfeet.com, or you can go walk into your local Fleet Feet store and check it out there. If there are other shoes that you want us to review, leave that in the comments below and let us know. But for now, please make sure to stay tuned for when all of our new videos come out.